Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor...
They say politics is a dirty game, but in the small village of Dolton, Illinois, unfolding between Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her former ally, Trustee Carmen Carlisle, has taken corruption and betrayal to a whole new level. If you thought you'd seen it all in the world of celebrity gossip, wait until you hear about this scandal. Imagine a political soap opera so intense that it rivals anything on TV, a tale of power, deceit, and the crumbling of alliances that once seemed unbreakable.
I think you should pay everybody. Is it a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You just got it.
So, what's the deal with Tiffany Henyard and Carmen Carlisle? For years, these two were thick as thieves. Partners in crime, quite literally, some would say. Henyard, who once proudly declared herself the super mayor of Dolton, ruled with an iron fist. She was the type of leader who relished in her power, often flaunting her authority with a level of arrogance that rubbed many the wrong way. But no one dared to challenge her, not until now. Carlisle, on the other hand, was Henyard's right-hand woman. The trustee, who always had her back, defended her decisions, and turned a blind eye to the scandals that plagued Henyard's tenure. But all that changed when Carlisle so suddenly decided to flip the script. Now, she's singing a different tune, positioning herself as a whistleblower. And it's got everyone wondering why now? What's really going on behind the scenes?
The legal appointment, that's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next steps.
Let's rewind a bit to set the stage. Henyard was elected mayor of Dolton in 2021, promising to bring change and prosperity to the village. But it didn't take long for her administration to be marred by controversy. From allegations of misuse of public funds to accusations of retaliating against political opponents, Henyard's time in office has been anything but smooth sailing. And while the residents of Dolton were becoming increasingly frustrated with her leadership, Carlisle remained loyal, or so it seemed. For 2 years, Carlisle stood by Henyard's side, even as the mayor's actions became more and more questionable. Lavish trips funded by taxpayers, outrageous spending on personal luxuries, and a leadership style that was more dictatorial than democratic Henya. Rhodes' behavior raised plenty of eyebrows, but Carlisle, for reasons that are still unclear, chose to stay silent. That is, until now. In a move that shocked everyone, Carlisle recently came forward with explosive accusations against Henyard. In an email statement to WGN, Carlisle claimed that Henyard had engaged in unethical and predatory behavior throughout her tenure. She accused the mayor of manipulating employees, vendors, and residents to increase her influence, all while projecting a false image of success, funded by the hardworking taxpayers of Dolton.
So that's one of the reasons I vote no when we go through our board packets. It's like, some of this stuff, it's like you don't know exactly what it's for, and then when you ask a question, there's no answer.
Carlisle didn't stop there. She admitted that she had trusted Henyard and the administration for far too long. But once she began to see the cracks in the facade, she couldn't stay quiet any longer. Carlisle's sudden change of heart has led many to question her motives. Is she genuinely trying to right the wrongs of the past? Or is she simply trying to save herself now that the ship is sinking? Henyard, of course, didn't take this betrayal lightly. In a public meeting, she mocked Carlisle, dubbing her lying Carlisle, and dismissed the trustee's claims as nothing more than a desperate attempt to cause drama. Henyard, who has a history of using insults and intimidation to silence her critics, clearly didn't expect Carlisle to turn on her so publicly.
Sometimes we get invoices, but those invoices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait, it's about just making sure the right thing is.
But why now? No, why did Carlisle choose this moment to break her silence? Some say it's because the legal pressure on Henyard is mounting, and Carlisle knows that if she doesn't jump ship, she could go down with it. After all, Henyard is currently under federal investigation for a laundry list of alleged crimes, including misuse of taxpayer funds, corruption, and even covering up an alleged assault by one of her associates during a work trip to Las Vegas. Carlisle's timing is certainly suspicious. Just as the FBI ramps up its investigation into Henyard, Carlisle suddenly decides to come clean about everything she's witnessed over the past 2 years. Is it a coincidence? Or is Carlisle trying to distance herself from the mayor before it's too late?
Who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what is it?
Residents of Dolton are understandably skeptical of Carlisle's newfound calm commitment to transparency. For years, she was one of Henyard's most ardent supporters, never once questioning the mayor's decisions or the questionable ethics of her administration. Now, with the walls closing in on Henyard, Carlisle is trying to position herself as a hero, the one who stood up to the Dolton dictator. But the people of Dolton aren't buying it. She's bailing on a sinking ship. Anyone that supported Henyard should be ousted, said one resident. echoing the sentiments of many who feel that Carlisle is just as guilty as Henyard when it comes to the corruption that has plagued Dolton's government. It's not hard to see why people are angry. The list of accusations against Henyard is long and damning. For starters, there's the issue of her lavish spending habits. Reports have surfaced that Henyard and her entourage racked up more than $100,000 in travel expenses over just a few months. We're talking first-class flights, five-star hotels, and expensive dinners, all paid for with taxpayer money. One trip to Atlanta alone cost the village over $9,000, with Henyard and her crew staying at the luxurious Four Seasons Hotel.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
But it doesn't stop there. Henyard is also accused of using village funds to pay for personal shopping sprees at places like Amazon, Target, and Walgreens. In one particularly egregious example, she reportedly spent $33,000 in a single day on Amazon. It's no wonder that Dolton is now facing a $65 million deficit, a sharp decline from the $61 million surplus the village had when Henyard took office. The financial mismanagement doesn't end with Henyard's spending. There's also the matter of police overtime. Under Henyard's watch, police overtime costs have skyrocketed, with some officers making more in overtime than their entire annual salary. One officer, whose base salary was $87,295, received an additional $114,814. Another officer, with a salary of $73,515, racked up $102,077 in overtime. And let's not forget Henyard's ally, Deputy Police Chief Lewis Lacey, who was indicted on bankruptcy fraud charges after being accused of concealing assets and income to avoid paying creditors.
One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
Henyard's leadership, or lack thereof, has also been called into question. She's been described as someone who doesn't know how to lead, who confuses being a boss with being a bully. As one observer put it, Tiffany is just like an Applebee's manager for the first time. Doesn't know how to be a leader. She thinks managing is about being a boss. It's not. It's a huge responsibility. What a joke of a human being. But perhaps the most disturbing allegations against Henyard involve her use of the police department to target her political opponents. Former Dolton trustee Valeria Stubbs has accused Henyard of orchestrating a drive-by shooting at her home as retaliation for criticizing the mayor. According to Stubbs, 2 of her tenants' cars were riddled with bullets in the early hours of the morning, and she believes Henyard was behind the attack. Stubbs has also claimed that Henyard harassed her on multiple occasions, showing up at her home with a caravan of police and city workers to intimidate her.
We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime. And instead, we have several officers that are riding around protecting the mayor.
And then there's the assault scandal. During a work trip to Las Vegas, one of Henyard's allies allegedly assaulted a village employee in an inappropriate manner. When the victim reported the incident to Henyard, the mayor allegedly tried to cover it up, warning the victim that going public would ruin her reputation. The victim was later placed on unpaid leave and eventually fired. This incident has only added fuel to the fire, with many calling for Henyard and her ally to step down. With all of this swirling around, it's no wonder that Carlisle is trying to distance herself from Henyard. But for many, it's too little, too late. Carlisle's involvement in some of Henyard's most questionable actions, like the $10,000 donation to Henyard's cancer charity on the same day the foundation's paperwork was filed, raises serious questions about her own integrity. And her sudden decision to speak out now, after years of silence, only adds to the suspicion that she's trying to save her own skin.
Coming in, I mean, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, just some accountability.
The residents of Dolton are fed up. They've had enough of the corruption, the lies, and the mismanagement. As one frustrated citizen put it, why can't we have transparency with what's going on with our tax dollars? It's our money, and we have a right to know how it's being spent. But it's not just the residents who are losing faith in Henyard and her administration. The tide is turning within Dolton's government as well. Carlisle's betrayal might just be the beginning. As the legal pressure continues to mount, more of Henyard's allies could start jumping ship, leaving the once powerful super mayor isolated and vulnerable. So what happens next? Will Henyard's administration collapse under the weight of its own corruption? Will more trustees come forward? Or will they continue to protect themselves by staying silent? And what about Carlisle? Will she be held accountable for her role in all of this? Or will she successfully distance herself from Henyard's downfall?
But the administration can adhere to some financial limits. We're not looking to necessarily...
In the meantime, the people of Dolton are left wondering who they can trust. With their local government in shambles and their leaders more concerned with protecting themselves than serving the community, it's clear that change is desperately needed. But will that change come from within, or will it take outside intervention to finally clean up the mess? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain in the world of small-town politics: anything can happen. And in Dolton, it seems like just about everything already has. So, What do you think? Is Carlisle truly a whistleblower, or is she just another politician trying to cover her tracks? And what about Henyard? Will she manage to hold on to her power? Or is this the beginning of the end for Dolton super mayor? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay tuned, because in Dolton, the plot is always thickening.